Welcome back to the Legacy of Halloween, your one-stop shop for all things Halloween, Haddonfield, and Michael Myers. Last night was our debut episode of Tonight in Haddonfield, where we discussed a lot of different Halloween topics, including the possibility of a Cult of Thorn Origin series. Before we get to that, though, our multiple-choice question for this video is, would you watch a Halloween TV series if it does not feature the Shape himself, Michael Myers? Let us know in the comment section down below. But now, on to our discussion about a Cult of Thorn Origin series and if it would work, featuring Braden Timmons from Haddonfield The Last Nightmare. Enjoy. What do you guys think about the possibility of a Cult of Thorn trilogy dating all the way back to when it first starts, and maybe you end with little boy Michael being corrupted in 1963? Obviously, you're probably spanning hundreds of years. There would definitely be like a fantasy element to that. It'd probably have to be stupid expensive. But could you guys be sold on a Cult of Thorn story, an origin story, if you will? Because it was definitely an out there, whether you liked it or not. By the time they got to where they are in Halloween 6, the producers got like, it's a very out there thing with all sorts of possibilities. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what Fear Street did with their 3 Netflix movies, but I could see something like that working. It'd work for me anyway. What about you guys?
I would be open to it if it's going to be like a part of the series, depending on how many episodes they do. If they weren't going to do season of the Witch and kind of drag that out, if they were going to go that direction, I think maybe if they're going to do like maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 episodes, I think you can tell that story across that and then lead up to Myers, and then you're setting up your next season if it's going to expand past 1. So seeing like the Cult of Thorn origin, I would definitely tune in.
Yeah, see, I think that it would need to be just one season focusing on that. Like Shawn, you were saying that could be like, it could even go all the way back into like the fantasy stories and stuff. Now, if they did like, say, a 10 episode season and that was their end game to lead up to that night in 1963 where it leads to young Michael, I feel like then if they did it, maybe each episode could feature different time periods. That would be a simpler way to tell that story, because you don't want to stretch that out into 4 seasons of that and then it ends with, you know, the young Michael Myers getting that curse on him. I don't think that a fan base would stick with it that long. But if like that was the end goal to like what they were planning on doing, and they told different time periods of this cult going through like what they go through and everything, I think then that could be interesting. I actually would be in for that for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how much the Halloween fan base, though, would be up for seeing stories that, you know, your first probably 2 episodes, my guess would be you're talking like 1800s, right? So like how many people are going to sign up for a story that's dated back then? But I think you could just do all sorts of creative, interesting things. I think in terms of Pika says, yeah, that's corny. In terms of, it's not for everyone, that's for sure. But in terms of like how far you go, I think story-wise it makes sense if it was just one season, like 8 to 10 episodes, and you end on Michael sort of getting converted or lured in by the cult in 1963. But I also wouldn't be opposed to like the last episode showing Michael in his full getup, the white mask, and we see a little bit of a different retelling of the events that happened in 1978. But I think thematically speaking, it would make more sense to be like, okay, this is how Michael became Michael. You might not see, you know, the complete transformation of, you know, him being kidnapped or whatever happens, but rather just you end on 1963 and he's sort of already a part of it, right? I would be down for a story like that. I think it would be creative. I think it would be interesting, and I think there's almost no chance of it happening. So that's just me.
Yeah, theoretically it sounds like really solid on paper. Like if anyone ever decided and it got approved for something like that, I feel like then it could be interesting, you know, and I would be okay to see it because again, the Thorn cult and everything is something that the fan base is familiar with, and like if you're a diehard Halloween fan, then yeah, you know, like you would know that based off the trailer and based off where they were going and everything. But if you're just like a casual fan, it's going to be hard to get a casual Halloween fan like just on board, or even just like a new fan to the franchise, you know, because like then they're going to have to sit down and they're going to have to watch the whole franchise and you know understand all of the ideology and the backstories and like all the intertwined stuff that makes Michael Myers drive and everything. So that's going to drive a new fan crazy, that's for sure. But
they're gonna be lost.
yeah, but if you're like a diehard fan, I feel like that would be for the diehards. I would honestly, I think that the view count for the premiere episode of that would probably be quite low if you ask me.
No, I'm right there with you. I think that's the type of niche thing that is not gonna please many people. I just think you can tell a very creative, interesting story by doing that. And I like your idea where a different episode could represent a different year leading from like 1750 all the way to 1963 sort of thing. It'd be interesting to see how many times, you know, how close do people get to derailing the cult during that time, or does it ever get close? Like you have to have some sort of interesting protagonist angle in a 8 to 10 episode series, right? So, you know, I don't know if it would work. I'm fairly confident it wouldn't. Die Hards would be good. Maybe it'll make a good novel someday for someone to write. I don't know.